The former Conservative Party leader, Colin Craig's former press secretary, signed a letter to her boss, Love Rachel, and told him in other messages he had a big heart, a court has heard today. Mr Craig is being sued for defamation by Jordan Williams, the founder of the Taxpayers Union. Under cross-examination today, Mr Williams has been challenged on his assertion that Rachel McGregor didn't reciprocate Mr Craig's love letters. The court's previously heard that in one of the letters, Mr Craig said he'd been experiencing back pain and Ms McGregor's healing hands had helped him. Mr Williams was asked by defence lawyer Stephen Mills QC if he thought this sort of comment would have been odd if it was Mrs McGregor who had been offering the back massages.
And you don't find that offensive, that she would do that for him?
I found that, to use the most polite term, odd.
Odd if she was offering it?
Well, either way, it's not a normal relationship for a political leader and their press secretary. It's not normal in any sort of employment relationship. None of my staff give me a back massage.
So that was the cross-examination taking place in the court today. Our reporter Sarah Robson has been at court throughout this remarkable thing. Tell me more about the cross-examination. Jordan Williams today, what we've heard about letters Rachel McGregor sent to Colin Craig.
Yeah, so Mr Craig's lawyer has spent a lot of today challenging that assertion that Mr Williams had made earlier in his evidence that Ms McGregor didn't reciprocate those letters that Mr Craig had sent to her. Mr Mills basically said that for Mr Craig to be writing in that way to her, there must have been some sort of reciprocation. So we heard in court today, Mr Mills during that cross-examination has read letters, texts and emails that Ms McGregor sent to Mr Craig. In one of the letters she said that he had become more than a boss to her. He had a big heart and that he genuinely cared for people. And she signed that letter, Love Rachel. And we also heard a text message that Ms McGregor had sent to Mr Craig on election day in 2011, where she said that she hoped to give him a hand and neck massage.
Right. These revelations in court, what impact did they have on Jordan Williams and his position?
So Mr Williams has conceded that it was wrong of him to say that there was no reciprocation. So Mr Craig's lawyer had asked him whether, if he had known about all these texts and emails, whether he would have taken a different message to those leaders in the Conservative Party who he told about Mr Craig's alleged actions and conduct with Ms McGregor. Mr Williams said it would have been a slightly different message, but he was still gravely concerned about what he called the hypocrisy of Colin Craig leading a Conservative political movement. And he also maintained that Mr Craig was using his power over Ms McGregor and taking advantage of her.
He was challenged on whether he'd actually seen the explicit text that Mr Craig had allegedly sent to Ms McGregor, is that right? Yes,
we've heard a lot about this explicit text, and again, this was something that Mr Williams had mentioned in his evidence that he presented to the court. So Mr Mills was pressing him on that, and Mr Williams was forced to admit that he didn't know if that text does exist, and he conceded that he didn't know whether he had actually read it. But he maintains that he didn't make it up, and Mr Craig's lawyer, Mr Mills, has indicated that Mr Craig will be giving evidence that he never sent a text like that.
OK, so Mr Craig's giving evidence. Ms McGregor, we picked that she might give evidence today, but you're now thinking she'll start tomorrow?
She should be starting tomorrow.
OK, Sarah Robson, who's in court, thank you so much for that.